Are you ready for the latest installment of the epic Toronto FC Montreal Impact rivalry? I sure hope so. 10 games remaining in the MLS regular season, the Canadian Championship, and it could be just that. Epic. That's the word that head coach Greg Vanney used in describing the past rivalry between Toronto FC and the Montreal Impact. And this isn't manufactured like so many others across professional sport. This is real, it runs deep, and the evidence, well, it's all right there to make for what should be an incredible run-in to this MLS season. It all started between these two clubs really back in 2015. That's when Greg Vanney says that the spark was lit. 2015, TFC had just clinched their first playoff spot in franchise history. They go out in the last game of the regular season, lose to the Impact in Montreal, meaning they had to go right back to Montreal to play a midweek game in the playoffs. That was a game where they simply got embarrassed. They lost 3-0. They were outplayed and really had to do some soul searching after that. It's since that time that Vanney says the emotion just has got bigger and better each and every time out, and the contest between the two teams has been evenly played. There's been 7 MLS games played between TFC and Montreal since Seba's winner in 2017 in the Canadian Championship, and since that time, Toronto FC 4 wins in those 7 games, 3 wins go to the Montreal Impact, and a goal differential of +2, 12 goals scored for TFC and 10 against. So it's been tightly contested, and since that time, TFC and Montreal have traded victories. 1 win for TFC, 1 win for Montreal. No team winning twice in succession since that time, meaning Toronto FC, having beat the Impact earlier this season, are going to have to buck that trend. Now, there's 3 things specifically I'm looking out for in this tie against the Impact. First, how are Toronto FC going to play against a team with no Nacho Piatti? Ignacio Piatti has been the Montreal Impact's focal point and best player. He's going to be out with an adductor injury, so he'll be watching from the stands this weekend. Greg Vanney says there will be no massive adjustment with the group playing against a team without Piatti, but he is a TFC killer. 4 goals and 2 assists in those 3 Impact victories in the last 7 games against Toronto FC. In games where TFC won, just 1 goal to show for. He is the X factor, and the Impact playing without Piatti is going to be a major influence on this match. Secondly, who's going to step up for Toronto FC? It was Giovinco who was the Montreal Impact killer. Who's going to be that player that puts their footprint all over this tie? The best player, or the most likely to step up, would be Jozy Altidore. He has 3 goals in those 7 games, but he cannot do it alone. TFC is going to need someone else to step up and prove their worth and put their impressions on this long-standing rivalry. And finally, what kind of team does Greg Vanney name? His team was relatively less connected, changing their formation in a 4-4-2 with a 2-2 draw in Columbus last week. He says in a game like this, you need to be able to balance emotion, balance that delicate fine line between going over the top in terms of being too emotionally invested, but being able to bring the requisite energy required to participate in a competitive tie. He's going to be looking for reliability, maybe more a veteran-laden team as well, players he can trust and count on to come up big in this all-important game. Remember, this is the 3rd to final home game of Toronto FC's MLS regular season. A win this weekend is absolutely paramount. The Montreal Impact do sit atop Toronto FC in the table. They're level on points, but Toronto FC does have a game at hand. It's about making games like this weekend count, and that's what Zavaleta tells me. Obviously, Toronto FC do not like this team. The rivalry is real, but the fact that the Impact sit above TFC in the table, that matters much more right now. The first of 3 against the Impact goes down this Saturday night, 7:30 at BMO Field. Come see how the twists and turns play out as this rivalry picks up steam in the run-in to this 2019 Toronto FC season. This has been your TFC Insider, presented by the all-new Kia Telluride, and I am Gareth Wheeler.